Angela Box is one of our most outspoken political analysts.
Filthy leftist stalkers out there, welcome back to my channel, where I always say what you were thinking. A lot of these things come back to what the Democrat Party has done to the black community.
It took an Anglo-Saxon looking woman to set everybody straight. Her blue eyes.
Hello, my name is Angela Box. Show your fucking money. Hello once again, all my fellow patriots and you filthy leftist stalkers out there. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Angela Box. You're watching the Angela Box Show, where I always say what you were thinking. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, liking or rumbling this video, commenting on this video, and of course, sharing this video, especially with your filthy leftist friends, because they truly hate my guts. And for me, that's a badge of honor. My hair is in a, boy, it needs to be cleaned, it needs to be washed, but that will have to say, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, it's so stringy. It's enough already. It's hair washing day, and I will be getting to that later, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, let's talk about this video. First of all, we're going to talk about the advice that Bernie Sanders is giving to Democrats in order to win back the House of Representatives and the Senate, which is delicious. David Hogg, the vice chair of the DNC, is in a little bit of trouble. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about who the Democrats are going to be rolling out there, and I use rolling purposefully, rolling out there to try and get men to come back to the Democrat Party. Also, we're going to talk about I'm just warning you, grab your barf bag, because there is a disgusting scene in the Sex and the City reboot that you are not even going to believe. Like, it's crazy. And then we're going to talk about two more things too. Michelle Obama is back in the news. Michelle Obama, who I'm not saying she's a transgender, but a lot of people think she is. She's back in the news for something pretty interesting. And then finally, we're going to discuss how California is putting a finger in the eye of girls and girl sports. So stick around for all that. But first, let's talk about how Bernie Sanders, so this is like big umbrella here. So Bernie Sanders, who I, in my heart of hearts, really won at the top of the ticket in 2024. If it's him and AOC at the top, at the ticket, I would be so excited. I don't think it will be, but there would be nothing more exciting for me to have AOC at least on the ticket somewhere, okay? Bernie may be too old, but AOC is not, and that would be funny. My husband said today that she reminds him of a Manson girl, because just her insane look all the time. Like, she looks absolutely deranged. But Bernie Sanders, a couple weeks ago, said, with really nothing to back this up, but he just said, 75% of the party, Democrats, want us to go further left. To which I say, oh, please and thank you. Do this, sir. Now, I will say this. Some polling does show that Democrats want the party to moderate, but that's only like 45% of them. The majority of the party, either 50% want them to go further left, and then like 15% of them want them to stay the same. So that tells me, ladies and gentlemen, that the Democrat Party is going to continue to be the party of trannies, baby killers, and illegal aliens, which, again, fantastic. So very happy about this. Now let's discuss this little twink, David Hogg. David Hogg is the vice chair of the DNC. David Hogg is on his way out, okay? The DNC is going to get rid of him toot sweet. They are trying to find a way, by hook or by crook, to get rid of this guy, even though he was elected by the little gaggle of freaks that had their elections a few months ago, and he was like, he stood up there and he's like, I'm going to be the voice of Gen Z, and I'm going to bring men to the party. And I was like, ooh, okay. Anyway, David Hogg was stupid enough to get caught on James O'Keefe's OMG Media. And he basically admitted, got cat out of the bag, that Nancy Pelosi's completely corrupt. And Nancy Pelosi, her investment advice does better than every hedge fund in the world, which tells you she might have some insider knowledge. And I'm going to let you watch this right now because it's really funny. Hang on.
Yes,
Nice to meet you, yeah.
Off the record, of course.
Foundational question for me is, like, how corrupt is the DNC if so many people knew, or few people knew about Biden, the president of the United States?
I mean, I think the fact of the matter is the DNC is always going to be like a campaign arm of the president, ultimately. The bigger issue was like the inner circle that was around Biden. That's it.
And I can't stress you enough.
Like Joe Biden's chief of staff, like had an enormous amount of power.
Joe Biden?
Joe Biden's chief of staff.
That was like an open secret at the time. Like, I would avoid him. Like, he was scary.
What was his name?
Anthony Trump.
I've never seen him.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
He's like a shadowy, like, Wizard of Oz type figure. That's what made him so, like, I knew how he looked, but I'm like, the general public wouldn't know how this man looked. But he wielded an enormous amount of power, and I can't stress to you how much power he had in the White House.
Okay, so David Hogg is he's so out of his depth when it comes to dealing with any kind of public relations, any kind of what it takes to run a party. But again, this is the disarray the Democrats are in, because they think that having this guy at the helm and some leadership position is a really great idea, and this is what they should do. Now, again, I will say that he's going to be kicked out very soon, and they're probably going to use this clip as an example why he needs to be kicked out, because how stupid are you to get caught by a James O'Keefe undercover journalist at this point? Like, I don't know if it was a young man or a young lady who was honey trapping this guy, but he's real dumb. And never forget who David Hogg is. David Hogg cosplayed as a Parkland high school shooting survivor. He was not there that day. He went to the school. He was not there that day, as far as I can gather. But he has made hay out of being a survivor of a school shooting. And it's like, okay, so, and because he's a Democrat, he's put his part and parcel into taking everyone's weapons away. And he thinks that's going to be a winning issue for everybody. And he's going to be a winning issue for Democrats. And why shouldn't we do this? And obviously everyone wants to have their guns taken away. So Democrats thinking that putting this little twink at the helm, it has just been a banger of an idea. Actually, they don't. And that's why they're going to get rid of him. So we need to have an over-under on when David Hogg is going to be booted from the Democrat leadership. I say less than a month, okay? The month is the line, okay? As I'm filming this, it's going to go out next week in the beginning of June, and I say by the end of June, he's adios, amigo. So, enjoy your time while you can, David Hogg. Okay, now let's discuss who the Democrats think is going to attract young men back to the Democrat Party. Now, I'm not a man, but I'm fairly certain that this person is not going to be attracting any red-blooded males, except to maybe run the other way, the opposite direction. They have tapped this morbidly obese Gen Z influencer named Olivia Julianna. She's out of Texas, by the way. Olivia Julianna has never met a cheeseburger she didn't like, all right? And Olivia Julianna has now been tapped to come and get the men back from their toxic masculine, Republican, white supremacist adjacent party, the Republican Party. The white adjacent, I say the white supremacist adjacent. Who said that the other day? I'm trying to think of who said that. Someone said that the Republican, I know. It was James Comey that said the Republican Party was basically white supremacist adjacent. So they brought out this, illegal alien loving fat girl to bring the men back to the party. And here's where it's you can't just simply make fun of her because of her looks. I mean, that's kind of where I'm going with this, because it's so delusional to think that anybody would be like, yeah, that's the girl, man. Let's all line up to talk to this lady. It's absurd. And she's also a big abortion person. She's she's like, my body, my choice. And it's like, I'm pretty sure you're not going to be in the position to have an abortion anytime soon, Olivia. But I digress. This is the issue with the Democrat Party. They are still in a delusional state where they think that the American people have not completely rejected the body positivity movement. They still think that the American people are going, yeah, I want to see commercials with 400-pound black ladies telling me about my period. Like, those are the people we want to look to as influencers. And it's like, who wants to tell her? Who wants to tell Olivia Julianna that she's not going to be enticing any men to do anything, much less come back to the Democrat Party? Because the Democrat Party has lost their damn minds, as we know. As I said in the first segment, if Bernie Sanders is saying 75%, and if the polling bears out that about 65% want them either to go further left or to stay the same, they're not going to be attracting any of the people that bolted for the likes of Joe Rogan or Theo Vaughn or Megyn Kelly or anybody like that. Like, they're just not. But they think that Olivia Julianna, in her morbid obesity glory, is going to be getting red-blooded American males to come. It's like, so yeah, sign me up for that. It's the height of insanity. But again, this is the Democrat Party. So there we go. So, you guys, let me just set this up. So Sex and the City was a show, a blight on the culture, if you will. And I am sad to say, I watched the whole series. Now, the series Sex and the City was good, but you couldn't take it too seriously. It was pure escapism, okay? It was like, these 4 women living in the most expensive city in the world, and they just, gallivant around and have expensive purses and shoes and just the best life ever, right? It was a fantasy. I understood that. But a lot of people did not, and a lot of people, went to bat for what stereotype they were. I'm a Charlotte, I'm a Samantha, I'm a Carrie, and literally nobody, and I mean nobody, was saying I'm a Miranda. Miranda is played by a woman named Cynthia Nixon, a more unattractive ginger you have never seen. Cynthia Nixon is one of the most strident lesbians on planet Earth, okay? She didn't used to be a lesbian. She used to be married to a man. She has 2 biological children. Then somehow she got, you guys, swept away. Her emotions got swept away by a woman affectionately known as Rojo Caliente, a very, very butch-looking redheaded woman. I don't even know what her name is. I should have probably figured that out, but we'll edit in who this person is. The point is that Cynthia Nixon, because she became a lesbian in real life, when they did a reboot of this Sex and the City, which is called And Just Like That, which, let me forewarn you, if you're a Sex and the City person, you've probably already seen the first season of And Just Like That. And that's probably as much as you could stand. It was so unbelievably awful and woke. Like, it was every single virtue signal, current thing shoehorned in to the show that it made it completely unwatchable. And the most unwatchable part of it all was the sexual politics of it. So Charlotte's daughter was a they them. Okay, so that was horrible. But Cynthia Nixon's character, again, this very strident lawyer, unattractive, just awful. Like, again, no girl was like, I'm a Miranda. Nobody. Anyway, Cynthia Nixon's character leaves her husband of many, many years, who she went back to in one of the Sex and the City's movies and had this happily ever after thing, leaves her husband to then hook up with an overweight, shaved head, they, them, who's a female. And not only that, but they subjected us to many disgusting sex scenes between them. It was gross. It was like, I don't want to see Miranda's face, okay? I don't want to see it. I don't want to see Miranda getting down with some overweight Latina lady who thinks she's non-binary in her kitchen. Like, it was gross, okay? So I haven't watched the second season, and I will not, and I will never, because of things like this. Last week, we come to find out that in season 3, I believe it's season 3, I think they're filming it now, maybe it's airing now, I don't care. Again, I'm not going to watch it. Season 3 of And Just Like That, And Just Like Us, And Just Like Us, Just Like That, sorry. There is a scene, evidently Miranda is getting with a virgin nun. It's like, let me step back and miss the lightning, ladies and gentlemen, because, I know that Hollywood hates us, and I know that especially leftists hate us, but to mock Catholicism, again, just in your face, and to mock being a nun, and, Rosie O'Donnell is playing a nun who's never had sex with anybody, male or female, and she meets Miranda at a lesbian bar, okay? And they just lock eyes, and it's like, oh, we're gonna get down tonight. And you see the post-coital snuggle up with these two, and it's like Rosie O'Donnell's fat arms and Cynthia Nixon's ugly ginger face, and it's like, vomit. I mean, again, they think that it's still 2019. They think that it's still 2019 and the culture has not moved on from this nonsense. And the culture has not taken a sharp pendulum swing back to normalcy. And I guess to wrap all of this up, I mean, this is just great news for MAGA. It's great news for normal people. And it's great news for people who want to return to sanity, because you can see the crazy. It's very on display. And they don't seem to be wanting to rein that in whatsoever. They are out and proud. And I say, let them be, because that just makes them much more obvious to the rest of us on who to avoid. Michelle Obama, never change. Never stop being the most grateful, kind, empathetic, wonderful lady that you are. And of course, I'm being sarcastic about all these things. Michelle Obama is back in the news, or sometimes she is affectionately referred to as Big Mike. Big Mike's back in the news because she's got a podcast called IMO, which means, in my opinion, that she does with her definitely not closeted gay brother, Craig Robinson, who is, at the very least, is a very afraid brother of Michelle Obama. He looks petrified of this woman every time she opens her mouth. Anyway, Michelle Obama is raising some eyebrows this past week, because she said that, let me get the right quote here, the creating life is the, quote, least of what a woman's reproductive system does. I mean, isn't that kind of the whole point of the reproductive systems and the chromosomes and getting the genes from your mother and genes from your father and creating a baby and growing it in a woman's womb and then birthing it out the birth canal? I mean, I'm no biologist, but I think that's kind of a big deal for a woman to be. Is it not? Now, people are like, that's a very strange thing to say for a woman who allegedly has birthed 2 children. I say this, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think Michelle Obama birthed those kids. I'm going to insert a screenshot here if you've never seen this. This is who many people believe are the actual parents of Sasha and Malia Obama. These Evelyn and Martin Nesbitt, I believe their names are. And they're a married couple, and they are head of the Obama Foundation, or at least they were back in the day. And is it just me, or do they look a whole lot like those two? Do Sasha and Malia look a whole lot like the Nesbitts? Yeah, I think they look a whole lot like the Nesbitts, more so than the Obamas. In fact, when you put Malia and Sasha next to the Obamas without seeing the Nesbitts, it's like, okay, well, that you wouldn't think anything weird. But then you put the Nesbitts there, and you're like, hold up, those two look like they're the parents of those girls. But anyway, if Michelle Obama, much like Meghan Markle, had given birth, okay, we would have never heard the end of it, because Michelle Obama has a chip on her shoulder about everything. She has a chip on her shoulder about being a black woman in America. She has a chip on her shoulder about being a woman in America. And if you think that Michelle Obama was in labor for 12 to 24 hours, pushing out a baby out of her birth canal, you don't think that we would have known just what she went through in order for her to give birth to these 2, functioning members of society? I think we would have heard a lot about it. Not only that, correct me if I'm wrong, internet, but I don't believe there's ever been a picture of Michelle Obama pregnant, like ever. I mean, maybe they didn't have moon bumps back then like Meghan Markle likes to utilize, but I think it's very strange that we've never seen a picture of Michelle Obama pregnant. Not once, not ever. Good luck trying to find one that's not AI generated. So again, being the narcissist that Michelle Obama is, being the woman who has a massive chip on her shoulder about everything, her saying this is a very strange thing to say. And it's a very odd timing for it, because it's like, the Republicans are threatening to cut off funding to Planned Parenthood, which they absolutely should. And I guess Michelle Obama is just saying, who cares about having babies? Like, the real goal of a woman is to bang as many guys as possible and to be able to have as many abortions as humanly possible. Like, I guess that's what she's saying. Like, it's quite the flex there, Big Mike. Interesting. And finally, because it is the most sacred month of the year, no, I'm not talking about December when Jesus Christ is born. I'm talking, of course, about June, because it's Pride Month. It's here. You guys, it's here. It's time to be here, queer, and get used to it. And in honor of that, there is a big FU going on in the state of California to a bunch of female athletes, as per usual. Why is it? Let me just ask you this, trannies, okay? Let me ask you this. Why is it that you have to usurp women and women's spaces. Like, can you please explain this to me? Because there are still about 2,800 biological differences between men and women and boys and girls, regardless of if you've gone through puberty or not, okay? Regardless if you have cut off your junk or not, okay? And out in California, there's a kid who looks like a cross between a bad mime on the streets of San Francisco and like every musical theater geek you've ever seen in your life. He is wearing like white face paint and he's got like all this dramatic eye makeup on. And he's like this. He won the girls track and field championship. I think it's in Clovis, California. And as far as I know, Clovis is not like completely crazy town. But I guess they're like, you know what? We need to stand up to Trump and we need to show that it is fair that boys should compete with girls. And can you imagine being a parent of a girl who trained her entire year to go to this track meet? It's the end of the year. It's the biggest track meet. She's going to compete with all these other kids from around the area, and she has to compete with this thing, this theater geek that is cosplaying as an athlete and a female. Like, can you freaking imagine? So this is where it gets like even stupider. So this boy wins everything, right? And there were some parents there who were understandably pissed, okay? So they got into it with some of the LGBTQ activists who, of course, were there. Can't just be the parents of the trainee that are there going, "Go George," or whatever his name is. It's got to be all the activists too. And of course, all the activists, the men in dresses who think they're women, got violent with the parents who just want to see some fairness and fair play in these sports. Like, it's so, Trump's like, listen, I already told you, I told y'all that you're going to get your funding cut. You're going to get your funding cut any way I can possibly cut it if you're going to continue to violate Title IX in women and girl sports. Like, you're going to get your funding cut. And so I hope that he just goes and takes a bulldozer to every bit of money going to California and let Gavin Newsom fight. Let them all fight it out in the courts, because this is, again, another 90-10 issue that for whatever reason, Democrats are taking the 10% of this issue when every single normal person in America thinks this is crazy and has thought it was crazy since the beginning, but just only recently have the cojones to actually speak out about it. Look, Target ain't pulling the crap that they were pulling a few years ago with the demonic transgendering of all the kids, okay? The schools are not going to be able to push pornography in front of kids anymore. All of their little ways to manipulate and indoctrinate children are slowly going out the window. So I guess they think that if they put a boy up and tell the boy, hey, just slap on some makeup and flounce around and pretend you're a girl, then you can win all these races and it'll be a finger in the eye to Trump. No, it's a finger in the eye to every single girl who has trained her heart out to compete in these races. Like, if this little twink cannot compete with boys, that sounds like a you problem, okay? It shouldn't be an us problem. Like, I'm so tired of these people. I hope Trump cuts off every single dime to them. Okay, everyone, that is it for today's video. Let me know what you think down below. And until next time, I will be done. Bye.